I'm Dan Dixie, and I was lucky enough to sit down and talk with Larry Hardwick at his place on Pine River Pond in East Wakefield, New Hampshire. My family first came to this house in the 1960s, and it was quite a thrill to be back there with Larry. What year were you born?
1920.
1920.
I remember they had a parade. I must have been about 5 years old or so, and I had a tricycle. And they had me dressed up as Uncle Sam. And they took me down to Lichman's, and he made me up with the beard and everything.
Huh.
And it was like a horrible parade, I guess it was in. And then that afternoon they had the big parade, and I rode on the horse-drawn fire truck up on the cedar.
Wow.
I can remember that.
So they still had, were they still using the horse-drawn truck then? They just
No,
it was just out
it
of...
was stored at the firehouse, but they didn't use it. They used horses in the winter with sleighs, but they didn't use the ladder truck.
This one of Rodgers, that was your family that had Rodgers Ice Cream?
Right.
Do you know who's in that picture?
Yeah, that's my grandfather Rodgers, that's my mother, and that's my father.
That Rodgers is on the left, and
Yeah.
the one in the center, what was her name?
Alice Rodgers Hardwick, and Bud Hardwick, Theodore Hardwick.
Theodore Bud Hardwick.
Yeah.
And this is on Schools?
On School Street, right across from the old fire station. Tangway's shoe shop was here, and then Osborne's parking lot. Haberdashery shop over here.
Was it around when you were a kid? Was there an ice cream store there? So it goes back pretty far. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, it was, when I went overseas, it was still there. And after I came back, my grandfather died. My uncle took it over, and he was in the fire department. So finally he got sick of it and sold it to Harry Chapman. And then it died out. When I was overseas, I sent back a swastika flag. My grandfather had said to me, send me back Hitler's ear. I said, I found this thing, and I sent it back, and I said, well, I didn't get his ear, but they won't fly this flag again. And he got it, and he took it and put it in this window. My father came to work, and he looked at it, and he said, gee, get that out of here quick.
Yeah. Oh, you were in the service, what years?
1942.
1940.
45.
42 to 45?
Yeah. I was married in 42. I came home on a 7-day leave in Adelaide, and I got married.
You were stationed overseas? And
Yeah, I was in the Battle of the Bulge and crossing the Rhine and Colmar Pocket. And when you go up and down the line, wherever they needed help, my outfit would go. So we spent a lot of time in freight cars. What
Corporal Hardwick didn't mention was he served with the 75th Infantry in France, Belgium, Holland, and Germany as a first scout. He also fought with the U.S. 1st, 3rd, 7th, and 9th Armies, British 2nd Army, and the French 1st Army, and was awarded a Bronze Star from the French government. He has a ribbon with 5 battle stars. And then you were with the fire department, the Marblehead Fire Department?
Yeah.
How long, remember what year you?
1947.
47.
And I retired in 77. I had 30 years.
Were you born in Marblehead?
Yeah, I was born down Harris Street.
On Harris Street at home?
Yeah, it was Lou Pedrick's house, right on the corner.
How long you lived in Marblehead for?
Yeah, right up till I retired in 1977. And we went down to Florida for the winter and up here in the summer.
And how long have you had this place here in New Hampshire?
I'd say it's about 55 or more years.
I remember coming up here with the family. We come up on weekends. We did the carpets up here with my father.
Yeah.
I remembered watching. We had a little TV over in that corner, and we watched the Fugitive, the final episode or something.
Dr. Hicks, I don't know if you remember.
I remember Tom Hicks.
He had it next door. Linda and Deidre came up with their girls. So Adelaide drove up to pick them up, and she bought this lot while she was here. He
Oh.
come home and said, I just bought a lot in New Hampshire. What the hell am I going to do with my boat? I had a boat in the harbor. I used to go out fishing all the time.
So the Hicks had theirs first, and then the one I remember when I was a kid and we used to come up here, there were very few. There might have been this one and
Well, it was Gail's place, and then Dick Fullerton. You know, Dick Fullerton?
yeah, so Dick
Yeah.
Fullerton, the Griffiths, and
Yeah.
the Hicks, and then the Hardwicks here. So, and then Adelaide had the real estate business in Marblehead
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah, Adelaide Hardwick Real Estate. She worked for Dave Faulkner first. He was at Brown's Florist, where Brown's Florist was. And he moved out west, and she decided to go in for herself.
And then of course the Homans had the real estate place too in Marblehead, and
Yeah.
they were just right out on 153
Yeah,
around the corner.
A lot of changes.
Yeah. Do you get down to Marblehead much anymore?
No, I don't get there much. Of course, I had to give up driving. I don't drive anymore. I'll be 100 in January 19th. They didn't want me to drive anymore.
Half the people in Marblehead today shouldn't be driving, and they're much younger than you are. As a kid in Marblehead, was there any memorable things or places you used to go?
I used to get out on the transportation wharf all the time. My uncle, Buddy Rodgers, used to work on the ferry boat that goes to the Willows.
Yeah.
And I'd ride over the Willows, run up and get some popcorn and come back, get on the boat and come back to Marblehead. Had a lot of good times in Marblehead. Of course, my grandfather Hardwick's farm was right there on West Shore Drive, right where the garden is there now.
The garden center.
His land went up across the road until they put West Shore Drive in, and that split it up.
And what kind of farm was Hardwick Farm?
He grew vegetables and stuff. He didn't do too much. Then my uncle, Charlie Hardwick, started that garden there. And they started selling pansies, and it turned into really a big thing now. Yeah, and then the sheep farm was right next to my grandfather.
Part of the Cirrhosis Farm?
Yeah.
Oh, so that was adjacent
Yeah.
to the...
Oh, we used to go over there and go over the cove and go swimming all the time. There'd be a bunch of boys over there. Never owned a bathing suit. We used to go through the woods and everything. I can remember when the rum runners used to come in there, and I was living on Village Street. They had a big raid one night. The police raided them, and one of the cops got shot with tear gas or something in his eyes. I forget his name now. They were going by my house all night. I was asleep on the porch. I didn't even hear them. I didn't know about it until the next day.
Did you ride the trains much when those were running in Marblehead? I know they stopped running around 1960. So
Trains, yeah, we used to go to Salem. I think it cost you about 6 cents to ride over to Salem. And we'd go over the 10-cent store and go through there.
were the trolleys still running then too? Were the trolleys when you were a kid?
Yeah,
Because
the trolleys coming in.
the trolleys went. I know the trolleys went all the way to Salem, and then of course the train had the Salem branch and then the Boston branch that went
I
through.
remember the day I came home from the service, I came in by train, and my family was there to meet me. The day before Thanksgiving, I got home from the service. I went to football game the next day, and I still had my uniform. I didn't have any clothes.
Okay. Football program from what year? 1938.
Yeah,
So you probably knew most of the players on this.
that's the year I
Wow.
played, 1938.
Oh, Hardwick, number 17. Wow, I didn't even realize you were in this when I brought that. But
This is all football.
we took a look at Larry's football scrapbook.
Clipping. I don't know if you remember Bud Pauley or not. Gibby Pauley was his brother, and he was killed in the service. Yeah. This is the year 1938. They took us to the World's Fair at the end of the season. They stopped at Brown University on the way back.
This is the Marblehead football team.
Yeah,
And what year was that?
38.
38.
Tony McGinnis was the coach. This is when they went to Port Arthur, Texas. And I played the next year. But Port Arthur came up here and played. And I missed out on that trip to Port Arthur, Texas. The next year I played, and they came up here. So they took them down, that night they took them down the Adams house for a lobster dinner. Those poor guys didn't even know how to get the meat out of the lobster. We were off the night trying to show them how to eat.
And that was 1938? Fourth period touchdown gave Salem High a win over Marblehead here Saturday by a score of 6-0.
Yeah, they beat us 6-0 in the last few minutes. This sign is when we played Beverly. That used to be over in Beverly, the birthplace of the American Navy on it. And some of the guys went over and stole it and brought it back, and they had it on hinges. In the halftime, they brought it up. Gloucester had a hell of a team that year. They had a guy that could run like a deer.
Really?
You couldn't catch him. That was my cousin Frank Merrill. I guess that's when we went in the service.
Any other Marblehead stories you have, or anything you want to share with us?
We used to have great times when my grandfather had the farm up in Village Street. At the time had moved from Harris Street up to Maverick Street, and I'd take the tracks and go up through the woods to my grandfather's farm about every day in the summer. And Frank Merrill and my cousins, we'd take off through the woods or over the cove swimming, and it was great. Adelaide and I even went out fishing with Donnie one day.
Oh, did you?
That old army coat that Donnie used to wear was mine.
Oh, was it? Yeah, he wore that all the
Of course, he
time.
lived right down in back of where we were.
Yeah.
We lived on Village Street. My father built a house up on Village Street on the Hardwick land. And we used to go to Deborah Beach a lot. There was nothing like going over and getting a hot dog at Timmy's. Best damn hot dogs I ever had. There was an old aluminum pan he'd boil them in. Generally walked most everywhere you went. In the fall of the year, Charlie Hardwick and I would take a dump cart and horse and go over to Deborah Beach and pick up all the seaweed and kelp. And they'd put it on the garden in the farm for fertilizer.
Probably wasn't a lot of cars when you were a kid. Was there?
Not too many.
Yeah.
Not too many. I remember old Doc Samburn used to come and park right in front of the firehouse doors. And he'd go into Mike Grady's to get his paper. And somebody said something to him one day, "You shouldn't park there, Doctor." "Oh, hell," he said, "you guys are not going anyway."
And the Mary Alley Hospital was down on Franklin Street then, across from the...
When I first went in the fire department, one cop and one fireman would run on the ambulance. So of course I was new, I got the job of going on the ambulance. And every patient we took down there to the Mary Alley had to go up a flight of stairs, straight up. They'd almost come down and land on you one time to get them up the stairs. My father, Tedesco Club that burned down years ago, my father was a call fireman, and he took off, and the alarm came in, because we all had tappers in the house at that time. He got blown out of a window, second-story window, a hot air explosion, and he broke his leg and arm, and it was all ice, colder than hell, all ice, and they took him down to Mary Alley. Of course, they didn't have enough room, so they had him out in the hallway. I can remember that.
In winters, was it tough getting around? Did you go sledding on the streets and the hills around town back then?
We used to go down Abbott Hall Hill, and then Roundy's Hill we used to go down. I remember being up at Roundy's Hill the day that the Graf Zeppelin went over, and then it burned up when it landed. You could almost reach out and touch it. It was close. I think there's something in that paper about the diner that was in back of my grandfather's store on Essex Street.
On Essex Street?
Mike Grady started that. I think there's a piece on that in there, or an ad for it or something.
He talked about playing on Harris Street.
Eddie Martin, that's who owned that. It was a house right on the right next to the old cemetery. And I was pretty young then. He had a clubhouse under his porch. It was a high porch. He had a hole that went down inside. And he and I were racing one day to get down in it, and he had a jackknife out, and I came down and sat right on the jack. And I was scared to go home and tell my mother what happened.
Oh, and that was Eddie Martin?
Yeah.
So what schools did you go to in Marblehead, the elementary
Well,
school?
I went to kindergarten in the Gary School. Then I went to road school. We moved up to Maverick Street, and I went to road school. And then to the grammar school. My grandfather, Rodgers, that ran the ice cream place, he was the janitor there for years.
The Gary?
He'd make the ice cream in the morning, and then he'd go to the Gary School. And he used to hire me in the summertime to wash all the windows inside and out in the Gary School. I used to sit on the ledge and push the window up and wash the windows, and then I'd have to crawl in the boilers and clean those out in the summertime. He used to pay me out of his own pay. He never got extra money for that. And the pay was pretty low then. My father worked at the ice cream parlor. I think he was making $15 a week. That was pretty good pay. I remember my grandfather used to oil all the floors. That was supposed to keep the dust down, I guess. But all the schools had oil all over the floors.
Thank you for talking to me. It's I always love getting these Marblehead stories.
I don't know if it helps you very much, but
Oh yeah, some very interesting stuff. Good. So